गिरिवरधारी जय जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य नंद श्री अद्वैत हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे जय निताय जय गौरा निताय, गौरा निताय श्री श्री गौरा निताय। जय कृष्ण बलराम, कृष्ण बलराम, कृष्ण बलराम, जय कृष्ण बलराम। जय राधा श्याम सुंदर, राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे। जय जय प्रभुपाद, 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद। निताय गौर हरि बोल, हरि बोल, हरि बोल, निताय गौर हरि बोल। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस प्रियाचार्य अष्टोत्तर डिवाइन ग्रेस अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत समिश्र प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवति उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, Text number 30, Text number 12. So today is Bhishmashtami. So welcome all the devotees for today's Bhagavatam class. So grateful to Dharmatma Prabhu and Vrindavan Temple Management for giving a chance to serve. So today, since it's the disappearance day of Bhīṣmadeva, we'll be taking a special verse from first canto, 9th chapter, text number 12. It's a very famous verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Can please repeat after me. Aho kaṣṭam aho nyāyyaṁ yad yūyaṁ dharma-nandanāḥ jīvitum nārhatha kliṣṭam vipra-dharmācyutāśrayāḥ aho kaṣṭam aho nyāyyaṁ yad yūyaṁ dharma-nandanāḥ jīvitum nārhatha kliṣṭam vipra-dharmācyutāśrayāḥ aho kaṣṭam aho nyāyyaṁ yad yūyaṁ dharma-nandanāḥ jīvitum nārhatha kliṣṭam vipra-dharmācyutāśrayāḥ aho kaṣṭam aho nyāyyaṁ yad yūyaṁ dharma-nandanāḥ
nārhatha kliṣṭaṁ
jīvitum nārhatha kliṣṭam
vipra-dharmācyutāśrayāḥ
vipra-dharmācyutāśrayāḥ aho kaṣṭam aho nyāyyaṁ yūyaṁ dharma-nandanāḥ jīvitum nārhatha kliṣṭam vipra-dharmācyutāśrayāḥ aho kaṣṭam aho nyāyyaṁ yūyaṁ dharma-nandanāḥ jīvitum nārhatha kliṣṭam vipra-dharmācyutāśrayāḥ. Mataji's. Aho kaṣṭam aho nyāyyaṁ yūyaṁ dharma-nandanāḥ jīvitum nārhatha kliṣṭam vipra-dharmācyutāśrayāḥ aho kaṣṭam aho nyāyyaṁ yūyaṁ dharma-nandanāḥ jīvitum nārhatha kliṣṭam vipra-dharmācyutāśrayāḥ. Aho, oh, kaṣṭam, what terrible sufferings. Aho, oh, anyāyyam, what terrible injustice. Yat, because yūyam, all of you good souls. Dharma-nandanāḥ, sons of religion personified. Jīvitum, to remain alive. Na, never. Arhatha, deserves. kliṣṭam, suffering. Vipra-dharmāṇas, dharma, piety. Acyuta, God. āśrayāḥ, being protected by. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Bhīṣmadeva said, oh, what terrible sufferings and what terrible injustices you good souls suffer from being the sons of religion personified. You did not deserve to remain alive under those tribulations, yet you were protected by the brāhmaṇas, God and religion. Purport. Maharaj Yudhishthir was disturbed due to the great massacre in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Bhishmadeva could understand this, and therefore he spoke first of the terrible sufferings of Maharaj Yudhishthir. He was put into difficulty by injustice only, and the battle of Kurukshetra was fought just to counteract this injustice. Therefore, he should not regret the great massacre. He wanted to point out particularly that they were always protected by the brāhmaṇas, the Lord and religious principles. As long as they were protected by these three important items, there were no cause of disappointment. Thus, Bhishmadeva encouraged Maharaj Yudhishthir to dissipate his despondency. As long as a person is fully in cooperation with the wishes of the Lord, guided by bona fide brāhmaṇas and Vaishnavas, and strictly following religious principles, one has no cause for despondency, however trying the circumstances of life. Bhishmadeva, as one of the authorities in the line, wanted to impress this point upon the Pandavas. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकांत राधाकांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुवेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुवेव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रसारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So today is a very special day. Actually, sometimes we are in confusion what happened today. Some say appearance, some say disappearance. No, but it's confirmed. I checked from one devotee who is expert in Mahabharata, and he gave me reference also. That is the exact verse in Mahabharata which talks about that today, because today which month is going on as per the lunar calendar? Magh Mas. So I'll just take out, he actually sent me the verse from Mahabharata where Bhīṣmadeva himself, as he is lying on the bed of arrows. So when did the battle of Mahabharata take place? You know, Gita Jayanti, that's the first day of battle of Mahabharata. And Gita Jayanti this year was in what December? Anyone remembers? 11 December, right?
Last year.
Yeah. So 11 December, the last Gita Jayanti. So 11 December, and today is 5th February. How many days have passed? You can say 20 days of December, 31 days of January. How many days? 51. And 5 days of? Today is 6th. Yeah, almost 56 days you can say. 57. Actually, so exactly there's a verse in Mahabharata, Anubhashana Parva. You know, different, just like we have cantos in Bhagavatam, there are parvas in Mahabharata. So in Anushasan Parva, chapter 167, Bhishmadeva himself is saying that today is the month of Magh and the Ashtami Tithi, Shukla Paksha, and 58 days have passed. Hare Krishna Maharaj. So Bhishmadeva is saying that 58 days have passed, I have been lying on the bed of arrows. So we just now calculated from Gita Jayanti, maybe after 1 or 2 days only, first within few days of the war, Bhishmadeva was, he was attacked by Arjuna and he was put into bed of arrows. So almost 2 months we can say that Bhishmadeva has been lying on the bed of arrows. Now imagine, we are sometimes pricked by a small thorn while doing Govardhan Parikrama, or we have to take an injection or some blood test. How much it pains. We get so frightened, oh, this needle will pierce me, yes or no? Imagine one needle and we get so much scared. And here the entire body of Bhishmadeva was pierced by arrows from the head till the till the tip of his feet. Hare Krishna. So this is, Bhishmadeva, we can just imagine what was his consciousness, that in spite of being in that condition where his whole body was pierced with arrows, he is speaking such great verses in Srimad Bhagavatam. So today is that special day, the day on which Bhishmadeva gloriously left this world back to the planet of Krishna. So, or we can say back to the Vaikuntha world. So, I'll just begin with a short description of Bhishmadeva's life. It's a very long thing, but a very short description. He was actually in his previous, you can say, there were Vasus, demigods, but there was some incident where the wife of one of the Vasus wanted Kamadhenu, cow, which belonged to Vasishtha, and they conspired to steal that, and the 8 Vasus were cursed to become human beings. And because they were demigods, so they somehow requested Mother Ganga to be their mother. So Mother Ganga became mother of these 8 Vasus, and the father was Maharaj Shantanu. And the condition of marriage was that Ganga Devi said that you should not object to any of my actions. If you object, then I will leave. I think something similar these days also, right? But that was like extreme. And that's what, so imagine, first child was born and Mother Ganga took that baby and drowned in the river Ganga. So Mother Ganga is a personified Ganga. So we know that as per scriptures, there is a person behind everything. So Mother Ganga, she took the baby and drowned in Ganga. First baby drowned. Second one again drowned. And he knew that he can't say anything because the moment he would object, she would leave him. So first, second, 7 babies like that were drowned in Ganga. And the 8th baby was born. Then Maharaj Shantanu could not control himself. He said, enough is enough. Please, at least leave one son. And that time Ganga said, okay, I am going. And then she left. But of course, later, Bhishmadeva also went to the heavenly abode, got trained. He had many gurus, and he also got trained by Parshuram, who was a great builder of weapons. Parshuram is also one of the incarnations. So Bhishmadeva was very, very powerful. Actually, his name was Devavrat. And you all must have heard of this pastime that once Maharaj Shantanu got attracted by the daughter of a fisherman, and he wanted to marry her. But her father refused because Shantanu already had another son, elder son, which was Bhishmadeva, Devavrat that time. So the father of that girl, so he said, no, I can't give my daughter to you because she will never become the queen and her sons will never become the king. So Maharaj Shantanu promised, no, I am promising that she'll be my queen. Then he said, what about her son? Bhishma will fight with her son. So then hearing this, Shantanu didn't say anything. He came back home, but he was sad. So as a perfect son or a disciple actually understands the mood of his father or spiritual master. So Devavrat could understand that his father was a little upset about something. So immediately he went to his father and said, my dear father, don't worry. I know the cause of your despondency. From today I am taking a vow that I'll never marry. And hearing this vow, the demigods, they showered flowers and they said Bhishma. That means something very, very strong, intense. They said Bhishma, that because such a promise, it's so difficult to remain brahmachari, even in brahmachari ashram. Now what to speak of staying in a palace surrounded by all opulences? It's impossible in one sense to remain a brahmachari. But Bhishmadeva took a vow to remain in the palace, to always protect the throne of Hastinapur and yet remain a celibate, which is not something, it's extraordinary, unthinkable. So that's why he was given the name Bhishmadeva, and later, so his father married to that lady, and the story of Mahabharata continues. And for so many years, Bhishmadeva remained loyal to his promise. He was always protecting the throne of Hastinapur, and he saw all that, the fight between Pandavas and Kauravas. He always was affectionate to the Pandavas. But what to do? Duryodhan was always playing foul tricks, and ultimately the battle of Mahabharata took place. And that time also, people sometimes question that why Bhishmadeva fought on the side of Kauravas. But that is because they were very strong on their Kshatriya principles. So because he was supposed to protect the throne of Hastinapur, because Duryodhan was on that throne, his duty was to protect him. So anyway, so the whole battle of Mahabharata happened. And Srila Prabhupada gives another nice interesting reason why Bhishmadeva fought against the Pandavas. Very interestingly, Prabhupada says that Krishna wanted to show that in the battle of virtue and vice, virtue will always win, even if you may have a powerful warrior like Bhishmadeva. So nobody had ever defeated Bhishmadeva in battle. But Krishna wanted to show, even if you have a person like Bhishmadeva on your side, but if you are siding with vice, if you are against dharma, you will be defeated. So therefore, Prabhupada explains, Srila Prabhupada, that this was Krishna's plan. He wanted Bhishmadeva to fight on the side of Kauravas, Duryodhan. So the whole battle of Kurukshetra took place, and by Krishna's mercy, all the time Krishna helped the Pandavas, and Pandavas became victorious. But after the victory, we'll see in the end of 8th chapter, 1st canto, which is prayers by Queen Kunti. Very beautiful prayers. And at the end of the chapter is mentioned, as Krishna was about to leave Hastinapur back to Dwarka, Yudhishthira Maharaj stopped him. Because he was very despondent. He was very, very sad. He was feeling a lot of guilt within him. That because of me, just to make me king, 640 million soldiers died. Imagine. 640 million. What's the population of America? Maybe, I don't know how many. Yeah, 250 million, right? Just imagine. I mean, like more than population of so many countries. Even India population is maybe 50% of today's India's population. It's about 130 crores. 64 crore people died on this battle. So naturally, Yudhishthira Maharaj is a Vaishnava, his heart was soft. Srila Prabhupada explained, just like Arjuna became despondent before the war, because he knew that because of this war so many people will die. So Vaishnava feels compassion, so he said, I will not fight. But then Krishna convinced him to fight for his pleasure. Now Yudhishthira, he became sad after the battle. When he saw that so many people died, so many women become widows, and he was feeling very guilty. He said, just because of me, just to put me on throne, I am the cause. So he took upon himself that I am the cause of such a big, killing, mass killing. And this time, Vyasadeva tried to explain him, but he could not be convinced. Lord Krishna himself tried to convince him, but he could not be convinced. So we can, then how Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead? He is not able to convince someone. So again, Srila Prabhupada explains beautifully that this was Krishna's plan again. He wanted to show to the world the glories of Bhishmadeva. He wanted to show that what I could not do, my devotee is able to. That is the unique quality of Krishna. He always tries to give credit to his devotees. Just like you must have heard this pastime that once devotees asked Srila Prabhupada, why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't preach in the Western countries? Srila Prabhupada humbly said that he wanted to give credit to me and all of you. So that is Krishna's nature. Just like in the battle of Mahabharata also, he gave credit to Arjuna. That because of Arjuna, the Pandavas are victorious. Similarly here, he wanted to give credit to Bhishmadeva. So, although Krishna was speaking from outside, but Krishna inside in his heart didn't allow him to be convinced. So this is Krishna's trick. And then then Krishna said, okay, let's go to Bhishmadeva. Now already, how many days have passed? 58 days. He's lying on the bed of arrows. One question, why Krishna went after so many days? Because so many things were to be done, rituals performed for all the departed souls. And such a big, the whole kingdom got changed. Maharaj, Yudhishthira became the king. So many things to be done. So we can say it took so many days to sort all those things. So finally, Krishna said, let's go to Bhishmadeva. And Krishna purposefully told them to go with a lot of, the whole entourage, royal procession. Why? Because Krishna knew that Bhishmadeva will be pleased finally to see, because he always wanted Yudhishthira Maharaj to be the king, emperor of the world. So at least before his departure, he would be pleased to see that. So all the Pandavas, they went in royal procession, beautiful horses and well dressed as kings, and they all went there and they bowed their head at the feet of Bhishmadeva. The 5 Pandavas and Lord Krishna himself. And Bhishmadeva was so happy to see them. Tears of love were rolling down from his cheeks. And then he spoke this verse. He said, "Oh, what terrible sufferings, what terrible injustices you good souls have gone, you have undergone. But you are alive only because you have taken shelter of 3 things. Brāhmaṇas, God and religion. Vipra-dharmācyutāśrayāḥ. Srila Prabhupada says that as long as we take shelter of these 3 things, there is no cause of despondency in life. So we should always take shelter of Krishna, the Brahmanas or Vaishnavas, and Dharma. Vipra-dharmācyutāśrayāḥ. Vipra means the Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, devotees. Dharma means the principles of religion as given in the Shastras, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Or, as Narottam Das Thakur says, Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavati Gita. So Hari, the Vaishnavas, Guru and scriptures. So this is a beautiful verse that Maharaj, this is the first verse that Bhishmadeva tells actually to the Pandavas, and then he says that you went through so much suffering, and then he says this is all because of Kala, inevitable time factor. And then he says, what is this time factor? This is nothing but will of Krishna. He says nobody can question Krishna's supreme desire. He said no one, because he is by definition absolutely independent, because he is the Supreme Lord. Nobody can question him. Everything happens as per his will, as per his desires. So he is trying to convince Yudhishthira Maharaj that don't think it's because of you the battle happened. It was whose desire? Krishna's desire. He is standing next to you. Don't think that he is your cousin brother. No, he says, Esha vai Bhagwan Sakshad Adyo Narayana Puman Mohan Maya Lokam Gudhas Charati Vishnusu. 18th verse, he says that he is Supreme Personality of Godhead, the origin of Narayan. He is Krishna. He is standing next to you. And it's because of him that everything has happened. So don't worry. He says even great sages, they get bewildered to understand Krishna's desire. And he says whatever Krishna does is good for everyone. Therefore don't be despondent, don't worry. And then Yudhishthira Maharaj then questions, then he submits before Bhishmadeva that kindly instruct me, kindly guide me about religious principles. And then there's a very, very long section in Mahabharata. Those who have not read Mahabharata in detail, but those who have read them, it's a huge section. I think some thousands of, hundreds of verses where Bhishmadeva is giving instruction to Yudhishthira Maharaj. It has been summarized in Bhagavatam in 3-4 verses. So first it is said that Yudhishthira Maharaj, Bhishmadeva taught him about the duty of a human being, duty of the 4 varnas and ashramas. That is, 4 varnas means the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras, and the 4 ashramas, Brahmacharis, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. Srila Prabhupada summarizes, he says, for Brahmachari, the main thing is sacrifice. For Grihasthas, charity. For Vanaprasthas, austerity. Like that Srila Prabhupada summarizes. Similarly, for the 4 Varnas, Srila Prabhupada says, Brahmanas means, studying scriptures and preaching that, and Kshatriyas, to give charity and to good administration. They should know the Shastras very well. Vaishyas, Srila Prabhupada says, protect the cows and farming. And Shudras should have no independence and actually help the other sections. Like that he spoke about Varna and Ashram. And then he spoke about various dharmas. See, basically dharma means duty. So he said about Dana Dharma, how to do charity. That's a science. It's a big thing because we cannot do charity indiscriminately, right? In Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says charity under mode of goodness, passion and ignorance. Same thing Bhishmadeva explains here. Dana dharma, raja dharma. How a king should administer his subjects. So that is dana dharma, raja dharma, moksha dharma. How to get liberation, because that is the aim of human life. And then stri dharma, the duty of a woman. Then finally bhagavad dharma, that is performing devotional service unto the Lord. So like that, there is a huge section in Mahabharata where Bhishmadeva instructs Yudhishthira Maharaj. And then finally, after speaking of all that instructions, then what happened? Bhishmadeva, now he stopped speaking. The beautiful verse, 30th verse you can see, 1:9:30. I'll just read the translation. 30. Thereupon that man who spoke on different subjects with thousands of meanings and who fought on thousands of battlefields and protected thousands of men. Srila Prabhupada is writing so poetically, right? So that person who spoke on different subjects with thousands of meanings, because he was so learned, who fought on thousands of battlefields and protected thousands of men, stopped speaking and being completely freed from all bondage, withdrew his mind from everything else and fixed his wide open eyes upon the original personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, who stood before him, four-handed, dressed in yellow garments that glittered and shined. So this is the final pastime where Bhishmadeva is showing how at the end we should focus completely on Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada in the purport he quotes from Bhagavad Gita about Antakale Shamame Vasparan Muktva Kalevaram, that how at the end we should remember Krishna. And then he offers beautiful prayers to Krishna, the 11 verses. Maybe we'll just read 1 or 2 verses. 32nd verse, 1:9:32. Then he starts, he looks at Krishna, is completely focused on the divine form of the Lord, and he stopped all other activities of the senses, and then he offers these beautiful prayers to Krishna. Shri Bhishma Vacha. Bhishmadeva said, "Let me now invest my thinking, feeling and willing, which were so long engaged in different subjects and occupational duties, in the all-powerful Lord Sri Krishna. He is always self-satisfied, but sometimes, being the leader of the devotees, he enjoys transcendental pleasure by descending on the material world, although from him only the material world is created." So he's saying, let me invest my thinking, feeling and willing. Srila Prabhupada says, because in such a big position, he was always thinking about so many things. But now he is saying, let me focus all my attention, all my thinking, feeling, willing on Krishna only and nothing else. And then he describes the beauty of Krishna's form. In the 33rd verse he says, Tribhuvana kamanam tamalavarnam ravikara gauravarambaram dadhane vapuralaka kulavritan jam vijay sakhe raturastu me anvatya. Shri Krishna is an intimate friend of Arjuna. He has appeared on this earth in his transcendental body, which resembles the bluish color of the tamal tree. So fortunately we have tamal tree here. Those who don't know tamal tree, they can't think. So the trunk of tamal tree is bluish color. That's Krishna's color. So Bhishmadeva is comparing Krishna's complexion with a tamal tree. His body attracts everyone in the three planetary systems, upper, middle and lower. Tribhuvana kamanam, attractive to everyone. Therefore Krishna means all attractive. May his glittering yellow dress, and the dress of Krishna normally is yellow. Wow, today Krishna Balaram, they're wearing yellow, right? Radha Shyam Sundar Kaurnitai, yellow. But it's glittering yellow, golden yellow. And his lotus face covered with paintings of sandalwood pulp. So normally we have Krishna's face decorated with small dots of sandalwood, be the object of my attraction, and I may not desire fruitive results. So Prabhupada mentions very interestingly that he is calling Krishna as Vijay Sakhe. So Prabhupada says that if you address Krishna in relation with his devotees, he becomes even more pleased. So if you say Krishna Yashodanandan, Nandanandan, Radharaman, so he feels more happy. That means you are connecting Krishna with his pure devotee. So when we approach Krishna through his pure devotee, he feels more happy. So therefore Bhīṣmadeva is calling Krishna as Vijay Sakhe. Vijay is one of the names of Arjuna. He's saying, oh friend of Arjuna. And then he says that on the battlefield where Shri Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship, the flowing hair of Lord Krishna turned ashen due to the dust raised by the hoofs of the horses. And because of his labor, beads of sweat wetted his face. All these decorations, intensified by the wounds dealt by my sharp arrows, were enjoyed by him. Let my mind thus go onto Shri Krishna. So now he is visualizing, he is remembering that form of the Lord as Parthasarthi, when he was actually fighting on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Now who saw Krishna's face? Could Arjuna see Krishna's face? No. One of the reasons why Bhīṣmadeva fought against Krishna, he could see his face, because he was in front. Those behind Krishna could not see his face. So, but Bhīṣmadeva was fighting against Arjuna, he was on the other side, so he could see his beautiful face. And he's remembering that beautiful face of Krishna, but that was covered with lot of dust. Imagine there were crores of soldiers, horses, elephants. So much dust must be, in the air, in the battlefield. So Krishna's face was covered with the dust, and he was laboring hard. He was personally driving the chariot. He was sweating also. There were drops of perspiration on his face. There were dust. But all these, and not on top of all that, Bhīṣmadeva is saying, when I shot arrows, so Krishna personally took arrows on his body when he was shooting the arrows at Arjuna. So he's saying that Krishna was looking more beautiful because of the wounds, because of my arrows. So Srila Prabhupada explains that one of the rasas is chivalry rasa. That means when you fight, that's one of the rasas that Krishna feels sometimes little pleasure. And Vishwanath Thakur, very interestingly, he gives in his purport a very nice understanding. It's just like sometimes when the lover bites the beloved, so he feels happy. So Bhishma's shooting of arrows was just like a devotee. So Krishna enjoyed it as much as someone throws flowers to Krishna. So Krishna felt those arrows to be like flowers, rose petals. And then he goes on to various verses that he says that may I always remember that form. And then he says that beautiful, I'm sure you must have seen that picture where finally what happens, that whole story Prabhupada himself explains very beautifully in his lectures also, that Bhīṣmadeva took a vow to kill Arjuna, to kill 5 Pandavas that day, because Duryodhana kind of teased him that you're not fighting nicely. So then he said, okay, tomorrow morning I will kill the 5 Pandavas. And he had 5 arrows. He said, with these 5 arrows I'll kill the 5 Pandavas. And Duryodhana, what he did? He said he was too smart. So he took the 5 arrows. He said, please give it to me, I'll keep it with me carefully. And in the night, Arjuna reminded, Krishna reminded Arjuna that remember once Duryodhana gave you a boon. Because Arjuna protected Duryodhana from Gandharvas. So that time Duryodhana said, I'll give you whatever you want. Arjuna said, not now, I'll ask you later. So Krishna reminded that go now, go to Duryodhana now and ask him the 5 arrows. So in the night time, Arjuna went to the tent of Duryodhana. Now sometimes I used to wonder that how crores of people used to stay in tents. But now with Prayag, actually we can see it, that in Kumbh Mela also we have tents and there are crores of people staying. So actually whatever is in Shastra is true. Sometimes we can't visualize it. So it's true. That means crores of people were staying in that area of Kurukshetra. Just like now we have crores of people in that Kumbhakshetra. So in that Kurukshetra field, there were so many tents and there were crores of warriors. So Krishna sent Arjuna to the tent of Duryodhana. And Duryodhana welcomed Arjuna. And so this is Kshatriya spirit, Srila Prabhupada says. Although daytime they fight with each other, when night time they're again friends, So Duryodhana welcomed Arjuna. He said, what do you want? Do you want the kingdom? I can give it to you. Duryodhana said, no, I want the 5 arrows. And Duryodhana understood it's all the plan of Krishna. So he had to give. At least he kept his promise. And when Bhīṣmadeva heard this, he became, little angry externally. He said, what? Krishna has spoiled my plans? Okay, now I take a vow that either I will kill the 5 Pandavas, otherwise Krishna has to break his own promise. And what was Krishna's promise? That he will not pick a weapon in the battlefield. So this is a competition now. A devotee has taken a vow and Krishna also taken his vow. So finally, who gave up his vow? Krishna gave up his vow to protect his devotee. It's a beautiful thing, that for Krishna it's more important that he should be known as Bhakta Vatsala, one who protects his devotee. He doesn't want to be known as Satyavadi, always speaking truth. That's not so important for Krishna. What's more important is to protect his devotee. So protecting his devotee, Arjuna, Krishna broke his own promise and took up the wheel of the chariot in his finger and attacked towards Bhīṣmadeva. So this is the most beautiful scene that Bhīṣmadeva wanted to remember while leaving his body. So this is something very interesting. So of course you all must have heard this, but let's visualize this form, that Krishna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra taking his wheel of the chariot and rushing towards Bhīṣmadeva. So this is the sight that Bhīṣmadeva is remembering me. At the moment of death, let my attraction to be to Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead. I concentrate my mind upon the chariot driver of Arjuna, who stood with a whip in his right hand and a bridle rope in his left, who was very careful to give protection to Arjuna's chariot by all means. Those who saw him on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained their original forms after death. Such an important point. So Bhīṣmadeva is remembering the form as Parthasarathi. Srila Prabhupada installed deities of Radha Parthasarathi. Something very uncommon. But Srila Prabhupada did Radharani and Parthasarathi, because Prabhupada says the same Krishna. It's not different Krishna. So Radha Parthasarathi in Delhi, we have beautiful temple. So Bhīṣmadeva is remembering that form as Parthasarathi. And then very interestingly, say sometimes people question that what everybody on the battlefield went to Vaikuntha world. Bhīṣmadeva is giving the answer. Yes, those who saw Krishna, they all went back they attained their original forms, Swarupa. Just see, this is Krishna's mercy. So sometimes you know how Krishna is so cruel, he made so many people die. No, actually liberated all of them. Because they all could have his darshan at the time of death, and they all went back to Vaikuntha world. This Krishna's mercy. And then Bhīṣmadeva also remembers the gopis. He glorifies the gopis in the 40th verse. He says the gopis are the greatest devotees of the Lord, who attract even Krishna towards them. And then he says Rajasya Yajna, remembers. See, at the time of death, we normally remember those incidents to which we are very attached in our life. So as devotees, we must have such pleasant memories of serving Krishna, serving Guru, which you can remember at the time of death. That's what Bhīṣmadeva is doing. He's remembering how Krishna charged at him. He's remembering now Rajasya Yajna, because that Yajna was performed by Maharaj Yudhishthira to glorify Krishna. And in that also Bhīṣmadeva, he glorified Krishna during that Yajna. So he's remembering that Rajasya Yajna. Let me remember that incident. And now he's saying the final verse that he spoke, 42nd verse. Now I can meditate with full concentration upon that one Lord, Sri Krishna, now present before me, because now I have transcended the misconceptions of duality in regard to his presence in everyone's heart, even in the hearts of mental speculators. He is in everyone's heart. The sun may be perceived differently, but the sun is one. Beautiful example again. That we all think that sun is on top of my head. But actually sun is on top of everyone's head in the noontime. Similarly, same Krishna, but is in everyone's heart as Paramatma. So the last word spoken by Bhīṣmadeva, and then it is said that Bhīṣmadeva, how he returned back, so Bhīṣmadeva became silent and his breathing stopped. And what happened that time? Knowing that Bhīṣmadeva had merged into the unlimited eternity of Supreme Absolute, all present there became silent like birds at the end of the day. Thereafter, so first there was silence. But then, immediately, both men and demigods sounded drums in honor, and the honest royal order commenced demonstrations of honor and respect, and from the sky fell showers of flowers. Because that time when Bhīṣmadeva was about to leave his body, all the great sages had come there. Because they all knew that this will be a historic moment where Krishna himself is present before Bhīṣmadeva. So all the sages from all corners of the universe, we have huge list in the beginning of this chapter. We have Parvat Muni, Narad Muni, Vyasa, Dhaumya, Vasishtha, Kashyapa. All the great sages had come there to witness this great occasion. And the demigods from the heavens, they also showered flowers onto Lord Bhīṣmadeva. So this is what the disappearance of a great Vaishnava, in one sense, is a occasion of sorrow because we miss that great Vaishnava. But there is a great celebration also for that Vaishnava in a glorious way when he departs this world and goes back to Godhead. So all the demigods started showering flowers, and in this way the great Bhīṣmadeva went back to Godhead, and therefore the chapter's name is Passing Away of Bhīṣmadeva. So this is such a beautiful example from Srimad Bhagavatam, that how antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yaha prayati samadbhavam natriyastra samsaya. That one who remembers Krishna at the end of his body will go back to Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada also explains that we may not be fortunate to have direct darshan of Krishna, but Srila Prabhupada says there is no difference between Krishna and his holy name. So able to hear the holy name, able to chant the holy name at the time of our departure, that means Krishna is personally present. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So therefore we are so fortunate. As Vaishnavas, devotees are very kind. So when a devotee is about to leave his body, other Vaishnavas, they go and do kirtan. And that's the presence of Krishna. And another very interesting pastime. Can you guess another nice pastime where a devotee left his body in front of the Lord personally? Haridas Thakur, right. So another such beautiful pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where, yes, another example is Jatayu in Ramayana. So these three great examples we have. In Krishna Leela we have Bhīṣmadeva, who left his body in the presence of Krishna himself. In Chaitanya Charitamrita we have Haridas Thakur. That's such a glorious pastime, beautiful pastime in Chaitanya Charitamrita. That how Haridas Thakur was in his small bhajan kutir, Siddha Bakul. That place is still there, fortunately we can see. Even the place where Bhīṣmadeva left his body is there in Kurukshetra. Once I have seen that. How many devotees have seen that place? There is a nice place in Kurukshetra. The well is also there. What is it called? Bāṇ-ganga, right? Because actually when Bhīṣmadeva fell on the bed of arrows, so he requested Arjuna to actually invoke Ganga. So Arjuna, he threw an arrow and it pierced the ground and the Ganges came out. So Bhīṣmadeva was drinking water of Ganga for 58 days, nothing else. He was just keeping himself alive. So that place is still there in Kurukshetra, where this pastime of Bhīṣmadeva leaving back to Godhead is there. Similarly, that place where Haridas Thakur had darshan of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Siddha Bakul, beautiful pastime in Antalila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. The Haridas Thakur was old and he was softly chanting, was lying and softly chanting, and then Mahaprabhu used to come to him every day. So one day he expressed his desire that, oh my Lord, you will wind up your pastime soon, and I don't want to see that pastime of yours. I want to leave before you. So please give me a chance. Please allow me to have your darshan and leave my body. And next day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with all the Vaishnavas, and first Mahaprabhu glorified Haridas Thakur, and Haridas Thakur took the dust of the lotus feet of all the Vaishnavas, not only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then finally he held the feet of Lord Chaitanya on his chest, on his heart, and he had darshan of the beautiful form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and with his mouth he was chanting the holy name Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Shri Krishna Chaitanya. There is a nice verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita which explains all this. And then finally Haridas Thakur departed from this world, and after that the devotees started doing huge sankirtan, and Mahaprabhu personally took the body of Haridas Thakur and started dancing and jumping. And then he personally took Haridas Thakur to the shores of the ocean and placed him in samadhi, and did a big feast after that. So Mahaprabhu himself showed how to honor a great Vaishnava. And similarly in Ramayana we have Jatayu, again a great devotee of Lord Ram, who fought till the end of his last breath to protect Mother Sita. He fought Ravana, imagine. Jatayu's strength was nothing compared to Ravana's strength, but still Jatayu fought. And even while lying on the ground, he was still keeping himself alive till the time Lord Ram came and met him, and Jatayu told him that Ravana has taken Mother Sita. And then Lord Ram personally did the final rites for Jatayu. It is said that even Lord Ram could not do final rites for Dasharath also, his father, because he departed. When Dasharath departed, Lord Ram already went to the forest. But all these three examples, so here also after Bhishma's departure, Krishna personally, he takes part in his final rites. Similarly, Haridas Thakur's samadhi was personally placed by Lord Chaitanya, and Jatayu's final rites was personally done by Lord Ram. So these are wonderful three examples. Today once again let us pray at the lotus feet of Bhishmadeva, one of the 12 Mahajans, that in such an exalted way, his life was glorious, he was such a great person, but the greatest thing about Bhishmadeva is how he left his body. That's the most important thing. Everything else is important, ultimately it doesn't matter. What matters is in what consciousness we are giving up our body. That's the most important thing. So Bhishmadeva is here showing that how he left his body. Of course, for a Vaishnava, when he dedicates his life for the service of Krishna, it is said that even if he may not remember Krishna, but Krishna remembers him at the time of his death. So Prabhupada says, no need to worry. But this one nice example of Bhishmadeva, that how Krishna himself came to him and he departed his body, having darshan of Krishna. So wonderful section of Srimad Bhagavatam. We can all read the prayers of Bhishmadeva and pray at the feet of Bhishmadeva for his blessings on this auspicious day. Bhishmashtami ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes, Maharaj.
We just read the Sika that Bhishmadeva wished to see Lord Krishna as that of the lover of the gopis at the end of his life. Is that correct?
No, Maharaj. He still wanted to. He wanted to see Krishna in his 400 form, but still he appreciated Krishna as a lover of gopis. Prabhupada explains that he had knowledge that the supreme, the 200 form of Krishna is the highest, but he was still attached to the 400 form.
Okay, so which means that Bhishmadeva attained Vaikuntha Loka, not Krishna Loka?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. I just want to be clear because I was trying to look and search who is Bhishmadeva in the spiritual world. It did not say anything.
Yes,
it's just like the counterpart. There is always a counterpart in Krishna Lila and in also Chaitanya Lila. Right. And it didn't say who is Bhishma in the spiritual world.
Right.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
That's a comment.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Anybody else would like to say something?
Yes, Prabhuji.
So Bhīṣmadeva left, Kurukshetra war ended, and Yudhishthira installed Parikshit Maharaj. And they fought the war and they protected Draupadi and the other ladies. But it's said that Yudhishthira decided that since the Yadavas are gone, Krishna's gone, everyone's gone, then he just retired and went to Himalayas, and the brothers followed, not caring for Draupadi and the others. So it seems a little bit insensitive when the emperor who fought and took so much protection that all of a sudden decided to leave the world but left the ladies unprotected. What's it all about?
That's a nice question. That finally after Mahabharata, when Yudhishthira became the king, but when Krishna left this world, so Yudhishthira abruptly left everything. So is it something irresponsible act of Yudhishthira? But actually this shows that the attachment of Yudhishthira was so strong to Krishna that he didn't care for religious principles. Just like gopis, leaving in the dead of night and coming to Krishna, that against dharma. The attraction for Krishna was so strong that they didn't care for dharma. But that's a very, very high stage. Similarly, Yudhishthira Maharaj's attraction for Krishna was so strong that when he heard that Krishna is not in this planet anymore, he thought, I have no business here, I must leave. So that's a very, very advanced stage. Only devotees like Yudhishthira Maharaj can take such a step. Yes.
All the brothers followed his footsteps.
Yes. Because all 5 Pandavas are pure devotees, yes. And of course, after that, even Draupadi started following them. So that's what. Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Nice question. Okay. So thank you very much. The Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.